the Israeli government stated clearly that its goal in issuing these tenders was the destruction of the Palestinian state and the triumph of the settler state. This is in parallel with the settlers' violence terrorizing the Palestinian population that the Israeli government has helped unleashed, is refusing to control, and continues to effectively support. They do not care that annexation kills any prospect for peace in our region. This is indeed their objective, as their appetite for colonial conquest is far greater than their concern for their own people. They want to derail the efforts of President Trump and the implementation of the comprehensive plan, which encompasses the clearly affirmed policy of President Trump rejecting annexation, while Palestine, the region, and other international partners are mobilizing to consolidate the ceasefire in Gaza and to implement the resolutions of this Council in this regard. Madam President, annexation is an attack against our sovereignty and territorial integrity. I repeat, annexation is an attack against our sovereignty and territorial integrity. It is an act of war against our state and our people. It is the ultimate breach of the UN Charter's purposes and principles. It must be stopped. Madam President, the attack on the UN, notably UNRWA, aims at facilitating such forcible displacement of our people and annexation of our land. The storming of UNRWA's Kalandia Training Center, the raising of the Israeli flag on UN premises again, and the childish yet dangerous video of Ben-Gvir in military attire behind the desk of the director of the center constitute breaches of UN Charter and of the inviolability of UN premises as stated by the ICJ. They are part of a pattern to destroy UNRWA in the hope of liquidating the question of Palestine refugees. If such attacks against the UN and its personnel are tolerated in occupied Palestine, including occupied East Jerusalem, then we are undermining the protection of the UN and its personnel everywhere around the world. Such actions must not only be condemned, we must collectively fight back.
Israel is committed to US President Donald Trump's 20-point plan to end the Gaza conflict, endorsed by this Council in Security Council Resolution 2803. But the plan cannot succeed while Hamas remains armed. Surprising, the October 7th massacre exposed Hamas's infiltration within UNRWA, including the involvement of UNRWA's employees in the attacks. Yesterday, after trying to find a solution for years, the municipality took possession of the compound to open a school for the coming academic year, providing local children access to quality education closer to home. Ultimately, the core issue is this: children who need schools and education. It is shameful that the UN put political consideration ahead of the educational and humanitarian needs of Kafir Akkad's children.
Публичные заявления видных израильских политических деятелей, планы и конкретные шаги правительства страны подтверждают отсутствие у Западного Иерусалима стремления двигаться в сторону деэскалации и выполнения международно-правовой основы БО. Министры национальной безопасности и финансов Израиля говорят о необходимости ежедневно убивать 30-40 газовитян и добиваться выселения жителей анклава с прицелом на воссоздание там поселений. Одновременно фиксируем негативное развитие обстановки на СБРИ, включая Восточный Иерусалим, где израильские власти последовательно проводят политику усиления своего административного и правового контроля вразрез с положениями резолюции Совета 2334. Не меньшую тревогу вызывает то, что политика создания необратимых реалий на местах сопровождается беспрецедентным уровнем насилия среди израильских поселенцев, непрекращающимися силовыми рейдами Цахал Насбрид.
You know who is not starving in Gaza, Ms. Rayburn and members of this council? Hamas fighters aren't starving. You don't see their leadership starving. You don't see their wives who are carrying Birkin bags on camera. Now, for the first time, troops and personnel from partner nations are scheduled to arrive to keep the peace. Tactical vehicles are already at the ISF logistics base. Countries as far as Uganda, Morocco, Kazakhstan have offered thousands of troops to this effort. No, they are not moving as quickly as we would like, but they are moving. And yes, the disarmament of Hamas must and will be closely scrutinized. It must be verified by objective parties. Nothing and not one thing will be taken on trust, but let's not have small ambitions here. With a verified process, we have the potential to unlock a future for the people of Gaza, free from Hamas.
The reality is that one state is illegally occupying the land of the other state.
We are not occupier, we are not settler. Our right to live in our land is based on our historical connection to it.
Israel has taken specific steps, such as increasing law enforcement actions, to boosting the IDF presence, and to allocating significant financial resources to counter violence.
We exist as a state. Look, I sit behind the plaque that says State of Palestine. We have 160 countries that recognize the State of Palestine. This is indeed including the great majority of the members of the Security Council. The reality is that one state is illegally occupying the land of the other state. So therefore we need the international community, the Security Council, to help the state of Palestine that lives under a ruthless occupation, illegal occupation, using the words of the International Court of Justice, to help us to end this illegal occupation, as the International Court of Justice said, as rapidly as possible. Of course, we appreciate all efforts to make this occupation less vicious, if there is such thing as that. In the process and in the way and the path of ending this illegal occupation. That is the main objective, ending this illegal occupation, not to make it a nicer occupation. And many of you have exercised that during the time of putting an end to colonial occupation and control in the past. So I don't need to explain to you what you were struggling for in order to attain your freedom and liberation. We are the last kid around the block. We need to end this evil system imposed on us, oppressing us, stealing our resources, killing our children, doing all the evil things that the UN reports describe, all of the agencies of the United Nations describe, and other NGOs organizations describe as well. So it needs to end. And all people who respect and honor international law and their obligations as members of the United Nations and the principles enshrined in the Charter of the UN is to help us to put an end to this tragedy.
Madam President, while Palestinian terrorists seek to drive Israelis from their homes, some voices in this council speak as though Jews have no right to live in Judea and Samaria. That is not true. We are not occupier, we are not settler. Our right to live in our land is based on our historical connection to it. It is described in the Torah, the Old Testament, and even the Quran mentioned the connection of Jews to the land. This past week, Jews around the world read this verse from the Torah. I will read it first in Hebrew. כי אתם עוברים את הירדן לבוא לרשת את הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיכם נותן לכם וירשתם אותה וישבתם בה. And in English, you are crossing the Jordan River to inherit the land which God is giving you. You will inherit it and dwell in it. Judea and Samaria is where our story in the land of Israel began. It is where it will continue. There has been a continuous Jewish presence in this land for thousands of years. The name Jerusalem, Hebron, Bethel, they are not names invented by modern leaders or modern politicians. They are part of the DNA of the Jewish people. And this history was recognized by the international community. The League of Nations mandate for Palestine affirmed the historical connection of the Jewish people to the land of Israel. It called for the founding of a Jewish national home there. The international legal framework established after World War I confirmed that historical connection. That framework included Judea and Samaria. Our history is not a political slogan. It is part of our historical and international record. Madam President, I could lecture for hours about our biblical rights, our historical rights, our legal rights to Judea and Samaria. But if we want to be practical today, and if this Council is serious about bringing security and stability to the region, it must understand a simple truth. We are not going anywhere. Jewish communities will stay in Judea and Samaria, just like the Palestinian communities.
Несмотря на эту трагическую реальность, здесь, в стенах Совета Безопасности, ряд западных делегаций на протяжении последних месяцев возлагал всю полноту ответственности за пробуксовку мирного плана по Газе исключительно на Хамас. Все мы помним, как в ходе заседания СБ в адрес руководства палестинского движения звучали настойчивые призывы незамедлительно согласиться сложить оружие, не препятствовать работе Национального комитета по управлению Газой и принять дорожную карту высокого представителя Совета мира Николая Владимировича. Хотелось бы надеяться, что такое же единство и решительность наши западные коллеги проявят и в отношении другой стороны конфликта с учетом публичного отказа Западного Иерусалима от дорожной карты и согласия Хамаса. Госпожа председатель, неоднократно отмечали, что успех любой мирной инициативы по БВУ будет измеряться достижением главной цели – созданием единого, независимого и непрерывного государства Палестины на Избрии в Газе со столицей Восточным Иерусалимом. Созданием государства, сосуществующим в мире безопасности с Израилем.
As the United States has said many times, we strongly condemn violence by any party in the West Bank. The United States appreciates the Israeli government's condemnation of and the increased actions to counter violence in the West Bank. Israel has taken specific steps, such as increasing law enforcement actions, to boosting the IDF presence, and to allocating significant financial resources to counter violence. The United States will continue to work constructively to increase security, reduce tensions, and enhance stability that is beneficial for both Israelis and Palestinians alike. President Trump's 20-point plan to end the Gaza conflict makes clear that the PA must verifiably complete a slate of reforms.
Notably UNRWA, aims at facilitating such forcible displacement.
The reality is that one state is illegally occupying the land of the other state.
They are not occupiers, they are not settlers. Our right to live in our land is based on our historical connection to it.
Israel has